Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by with the Season 6 update and The Haunting here in Warzone. We, of course, got some new meta updates. We got a couple of new weapons added to the game. We saw a few buffs to a handful of guns as well. And so today, we're going through and breaking down the new top 10 best meta loadouts that you want to be using for this season. Starting first with one of my favorites right now, deadly combination of the AMAX and the Kompakt. First up, though, let's talk about perks, equipment, things of that nature. This is going to be the same on basically every single loadout here today unless I specify otherwise. For my equipment, obviously you guys know for a while now I've been spamming smokes left, right, and center. They did, however, nerf smokes so you can only carry one as opposed to two. Now, this has not fully deterred me from using smokes because they are still very, very convenient. However, this does have me leaning a little bit more towards stims in some cases, maybe even some flashbangs or concussions. So it's a little bit of a bummer you can't really spam them as much, but they're still so strong where you can use them. You just got to be a lot more mindful of when you're using your one smoke, right? Beyond that, still rocking impacts, but Semtexes, frags, knives, if you're on rebirth, all still fantastic. Thermite's very good too. This is really just preference here. For perks, I'm still rocking Survivor so I can get the faster regen there. Bomb Squad so I don't run into as many explosives and get insta-knocked because people love to spam mines still. And then Gung Ho so I can reload and tack sprint at the same time there. Like I said, that's basically the same with Overkill on there for all the setups here today with the exception of a couple. But focusing just on weapons now. AMAX, crazy that they buffed this. It's going to be even better. Going to be feeling crazy. And the Kompakt is a melt machine. This is one of the fastest TTK loadouts that we've got in the game right now. For a 5 attachment AMAX build, I'm really just focused on recoil control. So I use an optic that is low visual recoil that I'm comfortable with. That's the Oturo red dot. I'll be spamming this all day long. Compensator for the better vertical control. Reinforced barrel for some better range and some better velocity. We end up with an 1125 velocity and a 63 meter effective damage range, which is phenomenal. Vertical foregrip for the best horizontal control. So this pattern is going to be a lot more predictable. And then extended 2 here is going to be a 60 rounder. That'll work fine for all squad sizes there. For the Kompakt here, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This setup is again based around recoil control, making sure this thing is accurate and it has the most ammo possible basically. So compensator on here, better vertical control, recoil springs, better horizontal and vertical control, and then ranger foregrip, some horizontal control, a little bit of sprinting movement speed in there too, just to make it even more aggressive there. So this is going to be a lot easier to use than just the basic Kompakt here. This will help out a lot with those attachments stacking. Long barrel, as always, on the SMGs for the best possible damage range, 15 meters in this case. And then lastly, extended 3 is going to be a 60 rounder. 1091 RPM, that means you burn through ammo. Even with 60 rounds, you'll be reloading a decent bit, but hopefully the enemies all be knocked because you're going to melt them with how fast the TTK is on this thing. Next up here is just a reliable combination. XM4 and the Saug, both low recoil, both really consistent in their best ranges. Obviously, XM4 for mid to long range, Saug for the close range. You're covered everywhere here. This is a pick it up and just do really consistently well. It's not going to take too much to use either of these guns here. For the XM4, again, use whatever optic you want. I switch over to the Willis 3 times in this case. Monolithic for better range and velocity, long barrel for better range in general here. Nearly a 70 meter effective damage range is crazy, and we got a 1020 velocity, which is sufficient there. Extended 2 is going to be a 60, that works fine. Extended 3 is not worth the cons for me. For 10 extra bullets, it slows you down a lot. Not really a fan of that. And then it's not really a common stock here, but it is available on the XM4, and that's the buffer weight, which helps out a ton with vertical and horizontal control. So this thing's going to be a laser beam, and it's got a great TTK over range. You can't go wrong with the XM4. And then the Saug up close, spraying and praying, running and gunning. Long barrel on here to give us that better damage range, over 17 meters, which is pretty solid for a sub there. Ranger foregrip for horizontal control and sprinting movement speed. Extended 2 is going to be a 55 rounder in this case. That'll work fine. I wish it was a little bit larger, but it is what it is. We got to work with it, right? Infiltrator stock for the better strafe. I love this where I can use it. It is so much fun. Then lastly, recoil springs for the better control, just making this thing nice and accurate. Already pretty easy to use as well for what it's worth. So this is a solid close, medium, and long range combination loadout, if you will. And then another just really reliable one, fast TTK, especially up close with the PPSH, and then the Kilo holding down the long range, low recoil laser beam here. For 5 attachments, you don't really have to do much to make this thing efficient, right? Use whatever optic you want. For me, it's the Oturo red dot yet again. Monolithic for the better range of velocity, reinforced barrel for more of the same. We end up with a 1357 velocity, love that, and then nearly a 62 meter effective damage range as well. Extended 2 on here, 60 rounder yet again, once more, just not worth the cons for extended 3 in my opinion at all. And then recoil springs, making an already very easy gun even easier to use there. And then for the PPSH here, I use this Noble Shield blueprint because it's got super clean iron sights, but I go for long barrel. We end up with a 17.6 meter effective damage range with that fastest TTK. Vertical foregrip for the better horizontal control helps make this thing a lot easier to use, as does recoil springs as well, for what it's worth. Extended to 71 rounder. Absolutely love that they kept this thing larger. Then agility stock here is better ADS and better strafe. Bit of best of both worlds. They're both super necessary on SMGs in my opinion. I love the feel of this thing. Next up, this is a bit of an experimental loadout, but we also got a brand new weapon in here. It's going to be the Ames, and then also the new Dresden, which is the MP40 basically, right? Ames is low recoil, really easy to use over longer ranges. Doesn't have the craziest TTK, but it's just really consistent if you're looking to switch things up from maybe a kilo or, you know, some of the other rifles that we've got, the XM4, for example. Going to be kind of a copy and paste loadout here though. Arturo red dot, monolithic and reinforced barrel. We end up with a 1214 velocity, so that's great. And then a 47.5 meter effective damage range. Vertical foregrip for better horizontal control to make that pattern predictable. And then extended 2, that's the max option here, and it gets the job done. Now for the MP40 or the Dresden here, you only have to get it to level 27 to get the most ideal loadout in my opinion. And on hero rocking compensator just makes it nice and easy to stay on target with that better vertical control. Long barrel obviously for SMGs. We got a 19.9 meter effective damage range. This thing is so good as you bleed into that mid-range some too. Extended 2 is going to be a 64 rounder. That works great. Quick draw rear grip for that snappier ADS. Then I love that infiltrator stock on there as well for that better strafe speed. This thing flies, this thing fries. Got a crazy good TTK and a phenomenal range as well. An absolute meta SMG. And by the way, as we are going through all the weapons, all the setups here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you find the info helpful, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to make sure you're always up to date with everything going on in COD, feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Help get us one step closer to reaching 1 million subs. Next up, we've got another new weapon here, the Merrick 5.56. Kind of an interesting rifle. Really feels like it should be the DMR, but just visually, but it's not. It ends up being a full auto one. It's going to be decent across the board. Currently, it's really weird because it's got this semi-auto conversion barrel, but as of the time that I'm recording this, it doesn't work. It just increases in the neck multiplier in Warzone. It works, I believe, over in multiplayer, but yeah, it's weird here. Either way, I think it's more ideal in full auto here with the reinforced barrel for the better damage range and velocity. Monolithic suppressor on here as well, so we end up with a 1317 velocity and a 70 meter effective damage range, which is crazy. Now, I do think this thing is best used with gunfighter, getting 7 attachments. I don't feel like you need a laser. You could use one if you wanted to, but I like getting as much out of this as I can. Go for whatever optic you want. Of course, for me, that's the Arturo red dot on there. Vertical foregrip definitely helps out. That horizontal control makes this thing a lot more accurate. Extended 2 here is going to be a 60 rounder, pretty straightforward. Then the infiltrator stock, better strafe speed. It's got kind of these weird half stock, half rear grip combinations. So there's a different one you enjoy using more because you really want slide to fire and strafe or something, you could opt for that instead. But I just like the basic infiltrator. And then recoil springs, even more recoil control here is never a bad thing, especially with how this thing behaves. I like the added recoil on there for sure. Like I said, you don't really need a laser. None of these are going to be that great. Like if you wanted to level up and get the target laser at 37, you could, but I'm fine with just 7 out of 8 attachments on this thing. It works. And obviously because we're using gunfighter, we don't have a true overkill secondary, although I'm not really trying to use the Gurkova. I typically just pick up, you know, a SMG out of a second loadout or someone's off the ground. You wanted to use the Gurkova though, pretty straightforward setup here. Rapid fire weighted stock for that sort of hybrid ADS. Extended 3 long barrel compensator on there for all of my gunfighter based secondaries. Next up, another solid rifle and SMG combo, the ABR, which is just really consistent over range. It's not going to be crazy like in the mid range or anything, but after you get into the long range gunfights, it's super low recoil for a burst. You are dead on, and it's got a pretty competitive TTK overall, especially just because it is so low recoil. Then the C9, another one of those ain't broke, don't fix it options here. Fast TTK up close. You don't got to worry about it ever failing you. It's a super reliable SMG. For the ABR here, monolithic suppressor combined with reinforced barrel, so we get that 1195 velocity. Then a 60 meter effective damage range is sitting pretty there as well. Vertical foregrip basically just means these bursts are straight vertical. It's going to be so easy to stay on target with this thing. Extended 2, another 60 rounder, that works fine. And then infiltrator pad yet again for that better strafe. You guys know I love my strafe speed on my build, so this works really, really good for the long range. And then C9 up close, about as it always has been, really, is what it comes down to here. I've been running the setup for seasons. It melts, it works. I've got no reason to change it. Long barrel, we got an 18.2 meter effective damage range. Ranger foregrip for the mobility and the control on there. Extended 2 is going to be a 50 rounder. That works. It's no 60, but it is what it is. It's not a huge red flag or anything. Quick draw rear grip for the better ADS. Then I do like recoil springs on here just to bring some consistency, especially as you get into some of the mid-range fights. If you got this out there, it'll keep things easy and keep things consistent. Hey everyone, real quick, obviously super busy time right now. So many good games out there to be grinding or looking forward to later on this year. And if you're looking to stock up on any G Fuel, now is the best time possible as they are running their brand new Fear Fest BOGO. Yes, that's right. Buy one, get one free. They've got the new 2.0 formula on the site, still some old flavors as well. And there's of course plenty of spooky season themed tubs and flavors available right now as well. So if you want to grab anything at all from the site, quite literally the biggest savings possible going on right now for a limited time, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. Now I do have a sniper set up, a few that I want to talk about in this video. The first of which is the HDR paired with the FFAR. This has kind of been the go-to sniper meta combination for a while now. But again, if it's not broke, you probably should not fix it, right? So on the HDR, we are rocking monolithic. Don't care about the range here because it's an infinite one-shot headshot. I just care about the velocity stat that's being upped with that. Hence why I also use the gain twist barrel for the better velocity, then overpressured ammo for better velocity as well. We end up with an 1184 velo. Bullet drop and bullet lead's gonna be pretty easy here, all things considered. Quick draw rear grip for that faster ADS just to speed things up a little bit. It's still a 615, so it's not the fastest, but it works. It's gonna get the job done. And then lightweight bipod I really like for the better idle sway. Just makes it so that this gun is way easier to stay on target. Even when you're not holding your breath, you can get a lot easier shots with that on there. So big fan of how this feels, how this plays in general. Then the FFAR just absolutely melting in the close range and the mid range. Obviously a little bit slower than an SMG, but if you got your sights up and you're ready to fry, it will fry, right? Again, I go for the Otero red dot, just my preference there. Compensator to help out with the control, definitely necessary for sure. Vertical foregrip, more of the same there, just doing some for the horizontal control so the pattern's a little bit more predictable. Extended 2, 60 rounder, that'll work fine for all squad sizes. And yet again, we've got that infiltrator pad stock on there for that better strafe speed. Obviously really useful when you're using this, particularly in the close range, you know, for sniper support here. So this thing is just so dominant in that niche. Another pretty reliable combo here, the GPR and the Ladra. GPR, low recoil, decent TTK over range, factoring in accuracy, it'll be able to hold its own. And then the Ladra, I love, it's one of my favorite SMGs. It just fries up close. It's super agile as well. So this is a ton of fun here. For the optic, matter of preference, Willis 3 times, Jason 2 times, Otero, whatever you're comfortable with, rock that. Monolithic suppressor for the better range and velocity, more of the same with reinforced barrel on here. 1209 velocity, then a 50 meter effective damage range is really solid there. Vertical foregrip for that better horizontal control, very predictable pattern, and then extended 2 on here for that 60 rounder, getting the job done in solos, duos, trios, quads, whatever your preference is there. And then for the Ladra, pretty, you know, standard SMG setup, all things considered. Long barrel gives us nearly a 17 meter effective damage range. Ranger foregrip on here, the recoil is pretty easy in my opinion, so I don't feel like I need to go for vertical, but you could opt for that if you wanted to. Extended 2 here, gonna be a 66 rounder, a little bit of an added safety net. It's got a fast rate of fire though, so it's definitely necessary there. Quick draw rear grip for that better ADS, and then also infiltrator stock yet again for that better strafe. One of the most aggressive and fun SMGs in the game, in my opinion. Then we got another sniper setup. This time it's with the Victus. This does have an infinite one-shot headshot, so it can compete with the HDR there. Of course, the velocity is just going to be a little bit different in its overall feel, so it's going to come down to, are you okay with the less velocity here? If yes, then it's just a difference in behavior, and that's a matter of preference, really. So this is a solid sniper here. Then you pair that with the KSV, a really good sniper support SMG. On the Victus here, we got whatever optic you want. I'm not a fan of the base default scope, so I go for the 6.6 times. Spirit fire suppressor, only care about the velocity increase here. Super barrel, again, really only care about velocity. Hence, that's why I'm also rocking high velocity. So we end up with a 994 velo. Like I said, a little bit worse than the HDR. It's still going to be very easy to predict that bullet drop and that bullet lead, though it's not unusable by any means there. And then Rise 50 stock, better ADS speed. This will be a little bit faster than the HDR, so it's a little bit more aggressive there. It's just a slightly different play style that you got to implement and do a little bit more work to memorize that bullet drop off, but totally usable. Great one-shot sniper, and the KSV is a great sniper support choice here. I do like Compensator. It helps minimize that recoil, especially when we're using an iron sight based build like this. Long barrel gives us a 20-meter effective damage range, which is insanely good for an SMG. Ranger foregrip, mobility, and control there, obviously. Extended 2 is going to be a 50-rounder. That'll work, given this fire rate. Then I do kind of like the balance stock on here for some movement speed, a little bit of hip fire stuff going on as well. If you like Infiltrator, though, like me, and you also like Strafe, that's never a bad choice either. So you can sort of play to your preference there, but really good complement to any sniper, quite frankly. And then lastly here, another gunfighter build to round things out. Same Gurkova setup as before, so we don't have to go through that again, but they buffed the AK recoil. It's now even easier. And this thing can hit like a truck. I do go for gunfighter because I want to maximize the control as best I can. That's really the only hurdle with a weapon like this. So use whatever optic you want. For me, it's a Turo, surprise, I know. Compensator for better control. Gain twist barrel. The range is already so good, 43 meters with a minimal drop off beyond that, that I like getting that 1300 velocity. You could also rock reinforced here though as well. It'd be a 1086 velocity, which is not bad by any means. Just a matter of what you really value here, but anything between reinforced, long barrel, and gain twist is serviceable. Vertical foregrip, better control, making life a little bit easier. Extended 3 is a 60 rounder here, so I do want to rock that. Quick draw rear grip, infiltrator stock, sort of copy and paste, give me some mobility here on a otherwise kind of slow rifle. And then recoil springs you definitely want on there too, for the better recoil control. So this is the lowest recoil AK-74 you can use, on top of the buff that it also got with the season as well. So this thing's going to be much easier to use across the board. And quite frankly, all these guns today really are very straightforward. There's not many difficult meta weapons right now. Nothing that's crazy high in the skill gap. They all get the job done nicely. You can mix and match as you want, but those are the new top 10 best weapons and loadouts to be using here in Season 6. It's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.